England won, Croatia 0. And for me, one of the standout things in this game today was that England clearly demonstrated that they are a team that has many dimensions behind them. In the first half and the second half, we used two different approaches to great effects against a Croatia team that had no solutions or ideas against us. And you know, some people may think that they were just poor on the day, but no, this was not the case. We made Croatia look poor today because we stopped them tactically. And one of the reasons behind that, in fact, was Gareth Southgate and how he set the team up. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way straight away. Of course, before the game started, you would have believed that we were going to lose this game based on maybe, Trippier playing left back and Walker playing on the right hand side. Now, I'm going to say this, and I agree. I don't really understand the benefit behind why Trippier had to play down that left hand side. It feels like both our left backs kind of do that already. And a lot of times I felt like when Trippier was getting the ball, he was constantly playing balls backwards because he has to get the ball onto a stronger foot. Now, I'll watch the game again or watch the highlights again, maybe there was a reason behind it. Maybe it was something about maybe drawing the attention of the Croatia players to, create more 1v1s for Sterling to be able to run in behind because, his movement in behind was so key and crucial for us today in both halves. But other than that, I felt like we could have done that with Ben or Luke in the team. And down the right-hand side, personally, I think that Reece James is a more technical player than Kyle Walker. And I'll sound cynical, but I think if you took away Walker's pace, I don't think he'd be the same player, which kind of says everything, to be honest. But for me, Southgate does deserve some credit in this game because, one thing I look for is what solutions is the opposition manager trying to find against us? And Croatia were looking for many, many different ones as the game was going on, but they had no solutions. With how they played, it was very tepid. They started with Modric playing further forward, and then they were able to get on the ball a bit more with both Kovac and Modric receiving passes from deep in midfield. But for me, this is where Southgate's system shines. Whenever Croatia were attempting to play in our half, not once did they play any pass between the lines. Not once did they have solutions between there. We were too compact at closing those spaces down. They were forced to play, pretty just safe passes out wide where their isolated fullbacks could do nothing. They were forced to put in crosses from deep to find no one. They were playing passes backwards. And most of the times they were losing the ball and giving us free counter-attacks. So, Southgate deserves the credit today because this was a great tactical performance. And I think we saw this immediately from how we started this game. The balls in behind was finding out Croatia's shape time and time again. We saw Phil Foden have an incredible effort, bottom left corner, cutting inside. That deserved to go, and that was so unlucky because, that could have easily deflected off the goalkeeper and gone in the back of the net. And yeah, he did everything right in that moment, and we just continued that intensity. And I think that was one thing that kind of just, shaped our entire performance today. Balls over the top, lots of direct balls, bypassing that Croatian midfield because they don't have the players who are going to track runners and come back to stop that movement. We were constantly able to isolate our forward players, especially Raheem Sterling. And in this game today, due to how we were playing, it made so much sense why he played over Jack Grealish. And we have to understand with Grealish, he's the type of player where he comes short to the ball. I think against a low block team, potentially against Scotland, that's the type of game where you would play Grealish in that because, of course, it's a completely different tactical game. But I thought that Sterling's performance was justified due to his very intelligent movement, and I think that's one of his absolute best qualities. And it was no surprise why we were able to find a goal from those plays throughout the game. And to me, that clearly demonstrated that Southgate knew exactly what he had to do to beat Croatia, because with this game today, this kicked off the first game in Group D. This was our first game in the tournament at home in Wembley too. So I guess I had to accept that there was a degree of not pragmatism, but caution that you had to have, because it would be maybe a bit immature to just have to, play gung-ho attacking football and expect to win 3-4, 5-0. I don't think that if we were to win this tournament, we'd be winning games by 3-4-0. Nah, that won't be happening. So for me, the balance that I saw offensively and defensively too, there were a lot of pros for me. And, now I want to discuss some of the players, and one of the biggest pros for me, and I think my man of the match, was Leeds' Kalvin Phillips. And I said this at the start, for me, Kalvin Phillips is England's N'Golo Kante. You can't tell me he's not. Every single time he won the second balls, and every time he won them, they were kick-starting attacks. On top of that too, he demonstrated his overall game. You know, he was making those line-breaking runs, those third-man runs and behinds. He played the part where he made the run in particular, profiting off Harry Kane dropping deeper, freeing that space for him to, further forward, playing a great weighted pass to Raheem Sterling, who then went 1v1 and beat the goalkeeper. And for me, it was fully deserved. From the moment he started the game, clashing into Modric and Cover, winning those balls, starting those attacks for us. Even from the corner attempt where he had the deflection come towards him and a very nice clean strike, lone driven to test the goalkeeper. He showed that he was serious and about it today. And positional wise, he was on point, defensively and offensively too. I thought this was a top performance. And, for me, could Phillips have that Owen Hargreaves type of effect in the national team? Remember that is it the 2006 Euros where he really announced himself in that competition and, was so key for us in midfield. I thought Phillips today was outstanding, and there were many good performances, but I'd say that Phillips edged it throughout the game today. But of course, I discussed the first half, and I want to talk about the second half a bit more because, maybe one thing I was getting a bit frustrated by, and maybe some of you guys as well, was that in the first half, it felt like we looked to play balls and behinds a bit too much all the time. There were lots of spaces in the game today, and we have the technical quality where we can play through the middle a lot more. So I was very pleased to see that when the second half came, maybe that was clearly the game plan to play that style of football, because we noticed Harry Kane, he was dropping deeper a lot of times, and that's what he does best. When Kane is leaving the line, that's not what he does. He isn't known for being a world-class striker for his ability to, go for headers and running behind and spearhead attacks. No, let him come deeper, get involved in midfield. When he does that, and as I've been saying, if you have the fast inside forwards alongside him, he frees that space up, and that's exactly how we scored that goal in the second half. That was one of the first moves which we created through the middle compared to exclusively playing down the flanks. And for me, it was a big reason behind why we were able to outplay Croatia today. And I was like, wow, okay, this is an England team that has many edges and dimensions to how it plays. We have great solutions off the bench as well, and I liked the substitutions that Southgate made, because of course once we made it 1-0, essentially all we had to do was just keep our shape and look to pick our moments on the counter-attack. So when players like Rashford came on to replace Phil Foden, that was a great move to have. Because of course, Rashford's pace and behind is going to keep that Croatian defence occupied and worried. When Bellingham came on to replace Harry Kane, that gave us more numbers in midfield to be able to really just keep our shape, allow Croatia to play in front of us and look to pick moments in the counter-attack, and to bring on Kalvin Phillips for the final 5 minutes where he's going to win his balls early, he's going to win his 50-50s. He's that perfect presence you would want in those final few minutes. I thought it was just the perfect man management from Southgate, great use of the squad. And for me, this is why I love the use of 5 subs in the game. I think it provides more tactical solutions and variety. I like the thinking behind how managers decide when to use their players and who they're going to use as well. And yeah, for me, man, it was no surprise why we comfortably beat Croatia. I expected a lot more from them, but they couldn't really do much. Our intensity was too great. How often were we hunting them down in packs, dispossessing Modric, Cover, Brozovic as well? I mean, we saw Cover and Brozovic pick up 2 yellow cards in the game today, and that really sums up everything about Croatia and, the lack of impact they could make and create against us. This is a really positive start. I know that some people may think that, okay, actually, if we come seconds, we have an easy opportunity because then we can play a game against weaker opposition. But for me, I think that's like loser mentality. If you have any hopes and ambitions of winning this tournament, you shouldn't fear anyone you play. You shouldn't fear anyone whatsoever at all. And, actually, if you beat a big team, that gives you that confidence for the next game. So this was a great positive start. I thought that it was great varieties. I'll still admit that I don't understand the use of Trippier and Walker. I'm hoping that maybe if you give this team better fullbacks, we can do more. But, you know, I feel like it's them ones where, of course, you know, there's probably a million ways we could have played against Croatia and still got a result. But, you know, this was like a very tournament ready setup and system we saw today. And, you know, I watch England games with that expectation that I'm not going to expect like the impossible or magic, to be honest. So, you guys, this is a great start to the tournament. 1-0 to England. In the comments below, state your performer of the match, and of course, state how you found the game as well. So on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.